Carol and Daryl spend some quality time together. Eugene bounces one off the ionosphere, and Negan is just trying to fit in. It's The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 6. Bond. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, of course, spoilers coming your way. And as always, do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Right in the description below, we'll have this entire review titleized and time-stamped. You can watch the end of the review first. You can watch the beginning of the review second. You can watch this review in any order you'd like. You think that I've said this enough times, it would just flow out. But no, still got to think about it. Anyway, let's get into this week's episode, Bonds. And, as appropriately so, that's really what we're dealing with. A lot of bonds. We're dealing with Carol and Daryl. They kind of rely on the bonds that they have with each other and maybe have a little tension in many different directions to test the strength of those bonds. I think it's going to hold out. You've got kind of Saddiq and his family there. The bonds that he has with his community. Rosita questioning maybe the bonds that she might have with Eugene. And Eugene, of course, reaching out into the ethers, connecting with another human being, trying to increase the bonds of humanity in the world around. And then lastly, of course, Negan in his exploration with the Whisperers here, trying to fit in and really more than just establishing bonds, seeing how the bonds connect in the community that he is infiltrating. So it's not just about fitting in, sometimes it's about seeing how those connections work out. So overall, a good episode, really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of it was, maybe I've already accepted there's not going to be a whole lot of action necessarily until we get into the second half of this season in the winter time. But I felt there was a lot of actual progressive movement happening with this episode. We have the kind of overall arc of Eugene reaching out with the radio. It's something that is we kind of touched on last season, him trying to expand things out when they first sort of encountered the Whisperers. And now with the use of the radio and that really being the only way to reach out into the larger world, now that the gas and vehicles and all of that's kind of used up. A good way to start to expand the world, and how I think we're going to end up introducing Rick's whole connection here as well. Then with Daryl and Carol, they're doing some studies, they're doing some action, going out, trying to locate the Whisperers. Carol's whole plan of finding out where the Horde is and taking it out. There is some plans, some movement, some action happening. And then, of course, Negan worming and working his way into the graces of Alpha and finding ways to subvert Beta's position here. Again, a lot of action. We're seeing where these pieces are going to try and end up setting up before the big battles and wars start to come. So, felt really good with the way that this episode went and just had some really fun moments. So, Dante's got some boundary issues. Apparently, flirty new doc. Ain't he? Yes, Dante, the new doctor, establishing his bedside manner, flirtation as a way to keep patients relaxed. At least that's sort of what it seemed in a playful sense. Once you started overreaching with the tickling of the baby and then going after Saddiq's whole thing, boundary issues really seems to be Dante's problem. But also dealing with a huge influx of the flu, a sickness, which threatens to overrun the infirmary there at Alexandria. We all know where this is coming from, of course. This is the walkers that Gamma has been emptying up into the river that is polluting the water supply, and that's what's making everyone sick. Kind of surprised Aaron hasn't said anything since he was watching Gamma do that. Well, perhaps that's something to happen up in with the next episode. However, in the meantime, we have Saddiq kind of being overrun with this. Dante not necessarily being the most communicative. So the two of them, they've got to find their working relationship. They've got to find their boundaries. I I guess we can go ahead and say. Not a whole lot else going on with this whole sequence, except Saddiq, who his whole sequence of PTSD, I think, is ending up being something a little bit more. When he has that scene where he finally gets the baby and he's laying down and he's staring up and he's looking at the lips and everything, and he's hearing Alpha, open your eyes, open your eyes. For a moment, I thought that he was sick and he was turning, and this was the sort of, Walker mentality establishing themselves. I was really hoping he wasn't going to eat his baby. That would be so wrong. But when he sort of zones out there and wakes up outside, underneath the windmill and everything there, again, another great creepy shot, especially just the slow windmill turning and the quiet darkness out behind him. It's like, is this real? Is this a dreamscape? Is this what's actually happening? And my concern is a little bit of brainwashing, a little hypnotism, a little MK Ultra action going on with Saddiq. Which, okay, look, brainwashing, mind-wiping, programming, and stuff like that, maybe a little more high-tech sci-fi than what can be happening in our post-apocalypse. But trauma does a lot to warp the brain. And considering how far along it's been, Alpha may have picked up some tricks, Beta may have picked up some tricks as a way to possibly tweak Saddiq to be the eyes and ears of the Whisperers. Remember, Alpha has talked, we see everything, our eyes are everywhere. There are a lot of thoughts that there might be a spy inside Alexandria. Some of that going for Dante, the new Doc, totally makes sense. He's a new character. However, kind of hard to turn away from that world once you're in it. Why would you go from being a Whisperer into Alexandria and a Doc and food and everything and then want to overthrow that to go back out to live in the whole kind of lifestyle there? Not sure about that. But a mind-suggested, broken Saddiq might end up being a bit more of an informer. And considering a lot of the Cold War elements that we have going on between the war between Alexandria and the Whisperers right now, that kind of quiet war, this sort of mind control, MK Ultra, Manchurian candidate sort of approach, does work with the themes. And Eugene is living the life, because you haven't lived unless you've bounced one off the ionosphere. Okay, Eugene, you should know. Anyway, using the guts of the Russian satellite to boost up the Alexandria radio system to reach out further, try and connect with other communities, see who else is out in the world. Really the first time we're seeing this type of ultimate reach out from Alexandria to really find out what is going on with the rest of the world. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going. And kind of before that whole bit, we have, Eugene makes a couple of connections right here. One, of course, Rosita connecting back up with him, maybe having some second thoughts about what she said to old Eugene. Maybe thinking, well, as Eugene said, everybody wants a piece of him. Maybe Eugene wants a little, or maybe Rosita wants a little piece of Eugene as well. I don't know. Maybe that's going a little bit too far. But I think that it's nice that she seems to actually be thinking about the importance that he does play in life, and maybe pushing away like that may not have been the best choice. Again, the bonds that we have, the bonds that we want to form is what we're finding. So I think that I really like the fact that at least Rosita is trying to connect back out. That there might be a little bit something more for that. I would like something for Eugene. But in the meantime, he's got someone else in the world that he connects with. And I got a lot of questions about that. I am sure that you do too. First off, of course, can this person be trusted? The fact that over the radio they were saying, look, I don't know who you are, and you could be a bad person. I could be a bad person. We shouldn't share this type of information. That seems all great, that kind of honesty. But that's also a way con people pull you in. Hey, don't do it. You don't want to make that mistake. You don't want to reach out, making it seem like everything's okay, so that as Eugene eventually does, start to open up and reveal more information. You did notice she didn't give anything back. We don't know her name, even though she knows Eugene. So important to kind of keep that in mind Suspicion, I guess, is really what works in this world and definitely should be kept here. And for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, just the friendliness, the information, the cautiousness seems just a little questionable. The knowing so much about Eugene, the city in Pennsylvania where Eugene happened to have traveled to, and the ice cream shop where they could have both eaten. Whenever you have some tiny bit of detail like that, which seems to be shared, which seems totally implausible, perhaps it is. I mean, I think Eugene has been, they've been talking on the radio for some time. So if this group, whoever is listening, isn't as far away as maybe Eugene thinks, is a little bit closer, has been listening in, has certain bits of information, maybe even has a database, can research stuff out, could be, I know that's getting paranoid, but the minute that she had the same city and the ice cream shop, big questions. Which then leads to the possibility of, is this all in Eugene's mind? Is just this some sort of fever dream from him as he's starting to get sick? He seemed to get a little more intense as the episode went on, so there's a possibility. But I think caution is definitely approached. The other big kicker right there, I thought, when she said, it has to be just between you and me. And if I hear another voice, then I will sign off and you'll never hear from me again. Forcing Eugene to keep it a secret, to not reveal information, and limits the number of people that might become suspicious of this other person. Also, I think we're obviously going to have a conflict because Eugene has already invited a big radio fan to come up anytime and check things out. So, of course, he's not going to lock the door. She's going to walk up, say something, radio's going to go off. You can see it all falling apart ahead of time. But who knows? We can have hope. Right? Some really nice Carol and Daryl moments here. I love the relationship that they have. And I know a lot of times I'm pushing, should they be together? Should they just be friends? I think that's kind of a question that's come off. And honestly, I personally have gone both ways. Even watching as this episode laid out, part of it was like, I kind of like the bond that they have together. On the other hand, a non-sexual relationship of this strength and quality is a good thing to see, a good thing to have representation of. So I'm kind of split in some ways. But maybe Daryl is as well. I do want to mention when Carol was asking about Connie, asking about Hillside, and Daryl's like, the king sends his best. Like, well, how's Connie? Okay, well, I think I see something there. Much like I said with last week's episode, Daryl sort of pretty much states it right here. No, there isn't anything between Daryl and Connie. And I think the reason there isn't anything between Daryl and Connie is I think Daryl's in love with Carol. I think he is. He's bringing her flowers. He's treating her nice. He cares about her. But I think he's too nervous to say anything. He doesn't want to maybe risk the relationship that they have. Because when Carol presses on, it's good to have a relationship. It's a good thing. He's pushing. Why aren't you interested? Why aren't you doing? He only takes that for a second before he pushes back with the, what, what's it to you? What's the information? Why do you care? I really love how they have crafted their relationship, because you not only have this kind of intrinsic level of trust, but you have sort of an honesty even amongst deception. Because even when Carol goes off to pee, I think just to see what Daryl is going to do, and he does, and he searches the bag that when he was looking for food, saw that Carol pulled it away. Reason to be suspicious of Carol. And a great in-camera, in-bag shot as Daryl opens it up and is just searching in. Just a great little camera moment. But any of these lies aren't held for any longer. Once you come back, did you find what you were looking for? Knows what he's going for. And then he just asks, did you bring a gun? Oh, no, Bill. Oh, yeah, there were some in the stairwell. It's like the guy in Austin Powers. If you ask him 3 times, he has to tell the answer. Except for these two, it's just once. You get the one kind of like evasive answer, but then they have to go up and they have to be honest with each other. Again, even the whole idea of why she was going out there. Oh, she's following whispers. Well, no, I'm actually going to post up, or I'm looking for Negan. Well, I'm not really looking for Negan. I'm posting up and I'm watching whispers. I'm seeing where they're coming from. And she's got the map. Here's where they've traced. Here's where they've gone. I mean, again, it's that great relationship. They both think alike. They're both kind of trackers. They're both smart. They're both tactical. They have a great relationship. They just are moving kind of at different speeds. They're moving at different directions. They want different things. Carol a little more obsessed with taking out the whisperers, and Daryl much more concerned with the blowback that everybody else has. And they have to kind of continue to weigh that up. I think it's handled really well. And especially since even when they have their conflicts, they don't fight about it. They just find a way to work through, or they just give each other enough trust, enough line in order to move on to the next step, which here ends up, of course, being a terrible plan of going in and tracking the whisperers down. Why? Because Carol's right. They're gathering up. They would move at daytime. If we were whispers, or they move at nighttime. If we were whispers, we'd move at night too, right? Well, that makes sense. But even throughout this, and I think that's another thing, I think Daryl suspects that Carol has an alternate agenda even to what she's revealing to him. Because step by step, he has to kind of push and prod, and she does reveal step by step, but not initially. I'm going after to look for Negan. Well, I'm not really looking for Negan. I'm tracking walkers, you know. I'm going into, I just want to find out where they're going. Well, actually, I just want to go in and I want to cross the border and I want to track them down. Oh, I just want to see where they're going. Okay, ultimately, I don't really want to see where they're going. I want to kidnap one and pump them for information. Which ends up being, you know, our whole final kind of final solution there. Great bit, by the way, with the sneaking up and walkers. The only thing that I added is with that night scene is, do you have to get so close? Do you really have to be like 15 feet from the walkers in order to see? Even if it's night, these are larger fields. They're trackers. They could be a little bit smarter about it. And again, you're seeing where Daryl is trying to be cautious. Carol is trying to be more adventurous. He wants to turn back. She doesn't, which of course cracks the branch and brings the whole walkers onto him, which ultimately might have been her plan, to pull away some of the walkers, let the whisperers come with, and then pull out one of the whisperers by themselves. He did ask, was that her plan? Just unfortunately endangering Daryl and the rest of the communities. Because he's right. Any mistake that they make, everybody else pays for it. Can't kill any walkers, can't kill any people, can't leave any tracks. If Alpha thinks that you've crossed the territory, everyone else is going to pay. And despite the bonds that Daryl and Carol have, Carol's willing to push that a lot more than Daryl is. The thing is with their bonds, I think Daryl is always going to back Carol up. Never going to turn on her. Never going to give her up. Never going to let her down. Never going to run around or desert her. Negan is back. And he is on fire. He is so in his element. Easily my favorite part of the episode. And I loved Carol and Daryl together. I love their interactions. I love their plan of going after the whisperers and finding out where the horde is. I loved all of that. But Negan was just the juicy center of this episode. Even from the straight off, the whole talking bit. I want to be in. I want to be set up. How do I join your plan? I love the whole you guys are a survivalist wet dream. I only have one question to ask. Are you going commando down there? You got some sort of walker log? I mean, just so much mouth. Which is so contrary to being a whisperer. And really the perfect way to get under Beta's skin. You are loud. You're too loud. You're talking. You're all ego. And I gotta say, favorite line is it ego if you're really that awesome? I don't know. For Negan, It's kind of true. And again, this is him in his element. He is working his way up a ladder. He can use his observational skills to see the relationships that go on. He knows exactly how to keep himself alive. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. My name is Negan. I've been a prisoner of your enemy for the past 6 years, and I'm ready to spill my guts. Gotta kind of use that resource. Which gets him in just enough to watch the dynamic between Beta and Alpha. And in that scene, you know from that moment, that little smile on Negan's face, that he saw exactly how to split them apart. He saw exactly the dynamic. Beta is strong, Alpha is stronger. Beta, even given the opportunity to be the new Alpha, will not take it. Too much respect for Alpha. They have a great dynamic, but it's got holes, and Negan is the kind of guy that knows how to exploit it, and he is willing to get his hands dirty. I mean, to be honest, he has been working the fields and picking tomatoes, so digging holes and skinning walkers and doing all that stuff. I mean, if it hadn't been done in the sanctuary, he's been doing it at Alexandria, and he is a man that knows how to keep the prize in sight. A great montage bit with him digging the holes and skinning the walkers and seeing the comparisons between Negan and Beta. Negan pulls out this tiny little bit of flesh, and Beta comes out with this giant thing of flesh. The whole digging bit. How deep is it gonna go? When they go hunting after the boar, here's a little tiny knife for you to use. Now jump in there and stab it to death. It was a great little bit. And even when Negan can start to push things, because he's not only working Beta, he's not only working Alpha, he's working the rest of the Whispers. He knows how to control a crowd. He knows how to make himself the top dog. He knows how to keep things interesting. So even if he's not given food, he did help kill it. He did impress people enough so he can see, again, that one sit. Beta says no food for you. He goes to sit down because he knows he can't stand up to Beta. Again, another moment. Push down. Sees Alpha. Knows the thing. Okay, buddy. Got to keep the eye on the prize. Eye on the prize. But already, fellow Whisperers are starting to pull him into the grab. He gets that little bit of food. That's his opening. Now he's making his impressions. But then all the cards are laid on the table. And this was just another beautiful scene. Again, just the honesty from both Beta and Negan in this, I thought was great. You know, Beta's just like, you're not one of us. You won't ever going to be one of us. And Negan like, cool, I see where you're at. You don't like me. That's fine. I don't care about you. I care about your boss. And I got something to offer her. So I'm not going to get... Again, he doesn't have to lie. He is that awesome. And he knows his own capabilities. And he still keeps a sense of humor. Beta's like, at least we'd agree on one thing. You're not going anywhere. Slits the one's throat and lets all the walkers come in to take care of Negan. Did you just tell me a joke? I'd be impressed if I wasn't so damn pissed off. You gotta love it. And yeah, perfect ending of that scene. We think it is all over. The walkers come in. He's being overrun. His knife is busted. No backup. No nothing. Of course, Beta thinks that he has succeeded. But it's Negan. And it's our Scene of the Week for this week. And that is, of course, Negan with a new Lucille. The new Lucille. He's got a whole new, just blood-covered log walking right in. Better size me up. I'm ready for my goddamn skin suit, and better get that extra long tape measure for my humongous balls. Just again, all attitude. Walks up, drops right to the knee to Alpha. I am all in. And again, another great scene because he already pushed Beta on the whole kneeling thing. Oh, I get the whole kneeling thing. I used to have a bunch of guys do that to me. I've never done it myself. Which is, again, a great build-up to this final turnaround scene where we see Negan kneeling down, offering up. I am all in. Whatever you want, whatever I got, it's yours. Shows that he is a badass. Show that he can survive. Show that he can be respectful. Plays it, at least, because you know Negan is just doing what he needs to do to get in. He's going to be the top of this group, the same that he is the top of most groups. Then the question is what he's going to do with it. The potential that he could be a new villain, sure, but that is a boring arc. Much more interesting to tear the Whisperers apart from the inside. All right, just a couple of small things. One, Daryl, surrounded by walkers, grabs the one and guts him, covers himself with blood in order for the walkers to go by and not get caught. Smart move, tactically sound, certainly not something they haven't done before. But did he lick his lips? I swear I had to rewind it because it looks like he covered himself in the face and then he licked his lips, which would be a really bad idea with walkers, but he didn't. He put his behind his lips. Something to do. But he didn't lick around, so probably safe, not sucking in walker infection or anything like that, but that had me worried for a moment. Really gross. Really loved Carol's line when she and Daryl are about to go in after the Whispers, and Daryl's all concerned about maybe we need backup, everyone else is going to pay for it, we're already paying for it, you know. Either we're enough or we're not. It kind of perfectly sums up, I think, their relationship and maybe kind of the bonding episode altogether. It's about either we're enough to get the job done or we're not. And I don't know. It's a simple line, but I think it seems very perfect for that moment and that relationship. Speaking of Carol, you know, you can say that maybe stealing a Whisper wasn't your plan, but the zip ties are kind of a giveaway. Especially they weren't in the bag. They were in Carol's back pocket or jacket the whole time. But yeah, why else are you carrying zip ties unless you're going to kidnap someone? I mean, really. Oh, and I love that final bit between Negan and Alpha after he's down on his knees and he's offering everything and she just comes in all kind of like snake-like but almost sexy too. Like, what's going to happen? Is this some sort of animalistic kind of connection? And then she's just, you talk too much. Shush. It was just kind of perfect and appropriate, I think. And a great way to end the episode. All right, well, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for now. So only 2 episodes left in this first half of the season. We've got to see what's going on in Oceanside. The final setup there with the Whispers and Negan. What information is our new captive going to give up? And will he be missed? And will Alpha find out about it? Lots of questions going forwards. Only 2 more episodes to get to our big mid-season cliffhanger. So, can't wait to see how that plays out. And thank you, as always, for joining me with these reviews. And if you enjoyed them, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. What do you guys think about this episode? You enjoying Negan's part? Do you think he's living back into his life? And what about Carol and Daryl? Tell me your thoughts on their relationship. Anything else, throw your thoughts. Oh, and about our mysterious voice on the radio. What do you guys think? Safe, definite threat, or entirely in Eugene's head? Let me know. Throw your thoughts down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe. Hit that bell. There's all sorts of buttons. You hit subscribe to not miss any of these reviews. You hit the bell for notifications. Lets you know whenever these new reviews drop out. And we got so much. Couple more episodes of here. Whole final last season of Mr. Robot and The Mandalorian starting up Tuesday. Be a subscriber. Don't miss any of those reviews. Hit this button right here. And we'll go ahead and throw up our couple of latest right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.